Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. I am just going to wait a few minutes and see if anybody shows up. Uh, like I said before, I want this to be more interactive, and one of the ways that I find out what I feel like I want to share is I'll look on the recovery page that I'm a member of and just see different topics. And depression is so prevalent. And so I'm just going to talk about that today. Um, I have a long history of depression. I was diagnosed with depression when I was probably 22, 23. Had different various bouts with depression. And during my stroke, when I had my stroke, I'm sorry, my birds are going crazy. Um, I really, what I, that's not the first thing you think of by any means when you have a stroke. But fortunately, I had Cody there with me, and he was he was a big advocate for me to get my antidepressants because he knew how important they were. And of course, the hospital didn't have the kind that I was on. So, finally he said, look, if y'all gonna have to deal with him because he hasn't had his meds in a while. He's gonna get really depressed, blah, 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 blah. So eventually they just said, "Well, just bring the medicine, we'll give him his home meds." So fortunately, I didn't have a long period of time where I wasn't on my antidepressant. So I always had that. Um, I did have that a bout of depression in the hospital when I first, it was probably the fifth, sixth, seventh day that I was on the rehab unit. And that's when I started having those thoughts of, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to end up in a nursing home? Am I going to be thrown away? So my depression really kicked in. And, you know, you, I'm really good at hiding a lot. And so, but there was this one particular day I just could not hold it together. It was just overwhelming. And fortunately, I had a physical therapist that was very grounding and said, "Wait, that's, look at how you're thinking. That's, Cody's here every day. He's not gonna leave you." And I knew deep down, I knew that, but it was just a concern. So after 3 weeks of being in the hospital and coming home, when I came home, I realized exactly uh, how traumatizing it was on my body for this stroke. Um, I remember one of the first times that I went out um, of the house after being discharged, we had gone to PetSmart, and there was a little girl there that not really know, but I deal with her, and she's a very sweet young lady. And I walked in, and she saw me, and she just burst into tears. And I was thinking, God, am I that hideous? It, I was just so floored. Um, I don't know why that was so shocking to me because, for me, my entire life, I've been really pretty dependent, independent. And, this stroke, because you're having to be more dependent um, to some extent, it was so devastating. So, uh, so when I saw that girl cry, I just thought, how bad am I? And I just started thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to get better. It's always going to be this way. And, I'm always going to walk with a limp. And, you know, um, my toe is always going to catch because I can't pick it up when I walk. What It was just so depressing to me. then you come home and life doesn't stop just because you had a stroke. There's going to be those people that you think are going to be there and they're not there. You think there's people that are there at first and something happens and life happens and they're no longer there, and that's depressing. um, but when you have to depend on someone to help you get dressed, make your plate, cut your meat, make sure that everything is where you can eat it, you can pick it up, um, and just having those days where one thing happens right after another, right after another, right after another, right after another, and it reinforces the fact that you know you're less than, you're broken. How is you know how can somebody love you despite your brokenness? And getting into this crappy way of thinking. And I remember so many nights going to bed, and suicide is not on the table. It never has been. I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. And I just remember laying in bed, not being able to move my arm and not being able to move my leg, and just thinking, God, why did you save me from this? Why didn't you let me die? You know, um, just I I don't understand. Praying that God would stop your heart, that you would just stop breathing. You don't want to be a burden, and being so depressed and not really being able to tell anybody how I feel. Of course, when I was in my outpatient rehab neuro program, there was a doctor there, but I was just not comfortable going to that doctor and saying, hey, I'm having passive suicidal thoughts. I'm, scared that the rest of my life is going to be like this. I don't want to have to depend on, I still to this day, I don't wear regular clothes. I can't do buttons, zippers, I struggle with, belts, they're difficult, and I don't like having to ask somebody, can you help me get dressed? Um, it's not a good feeling, you know. And so, I wasn't comfortable going to this doctor and saying, I'm having these thoughts, and I didn't want to share those things with Cody because I felt like he had so much already. He was my advocate. He was my hero. He was my everything. Anything that I needed or anything he thought that I would need, he was always, always there. But I didn't want to share that because it was just yet one more thing he's got to deal with, one more thing. And so, think about how many comics, have committed suicide because they can't really be honest about how they feel. So they use laughter, they use humor to medicate that feeling till they're by themselves. And then the whole game changes. It is you self talk and you tell yourself that you're not worthy, that you're worthless, that you'll never be whole again, that you're broken, and that's a hard pill to swallow. So fortunately, that didn't last long because the progress that I made was so motivating. So I would have days like that, and then and a lot of that I think had to do with a lot of fatigue too, because the amount of fatigue that we go through on a daily basis is crazy, crazy, crazy high. So I would have those nights where I was praying to God that He would just take me, just stop my heart, stop me from breathing, and it would be over because I had no purpose. And And I thought that was it. So then the next day I would get up and I would get up in the mornings and I would talk to my brother-in-law, and we would just chat, and it occupied my time, you know um and I was very thankful to have him as well, because he did help me. He did help me tie my shoes, and get my backpack together, and help me with breakfast, and those are all things that I needed at that time. And it was real hard for me to 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 allow somebody to do that, because I was used to always doing for myself, even as a kid. Um, so I was I would get through that night, and I would wake up, and I would go, and I would get so motivated for treatment that day. And but I did have those days during treatment too, where I was, really fatigued. I was emotional. I didn't have a lot of them, but there were several days that, you know, all I could do was just cry. No matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, you know, um, I just couldn't stop. It just, it was crazy, 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 but it was very cleansing. I remember one time, a very good friend of mine invited me to go to Puerto Rico, and I would go to the beach early in the morning, and I would try to walk, and I would drag my toe. And no matter how hard I tried not to, I would drag my toe. And I would see all these, and I was never a big runner, but I did like to jog. I did like to do cardio. I did like to do the elliptical. And I would see these people running, and I couldn't run. And I just remember sitting down on the beach, and the beach is very cathartic for me. um, I remember just sitting down and just crying, just grieving that I didn't think I would ever walk like that again. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to get there. But then I couldn't see past that. I couldn't see past where I was at right then. So, and that was very, it was very cathartic for me, um, because when I got through that, I got up, and I just forced myself just to walk and not focus so much on my toe dragging, but just walking. And that was sad to me. That was very sad to me. Um, you know, it's very depressing when you're walking and you're in public, and one of the things that has happened is I don't like to go in public. um I only drive if I have to. I can't make people understand that it's depressing when you're going somewhere and you're supposed to know where you're at, but you don't. The surroundings look somewhat familiar, but you have no clues where you're at. And one of my biggest fears is to get lost. And so having to pull over and put it in the GPS, and it's simple places, simple places. And that has gotten a lot better. But it was where I was at right then that was important. And so that was very scary. It was very depressing, and it forced me to isolate. And so I knew that wasn't good for me to isolate. Um, and so I started um, going for walks by myself out. I would go to like these little parks, either one by the house, or there's another one I would go to. And one day I was at this other park, and it's a big park, and it's, you know, um, and I had my headphones on, my canceling headphones on, and I couldn't hear. And so I was walking, and I saw this lady, and I thought, oh, well, it's just somebody out here. I didn't really pay much mind. And af- after a few minutes, I was walking, and of course I had my lamp. I couldn't run, or it was just a steady walk. And I felt this lady tap me on the shoulder, and scared the bejesus out of me. So I took my headphones off, and uh, I, I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "What happened to your leg?" And I said, "I had a stroke." And she said, "Well, do you mind if I pray with you?" And I said, "Well, no." Well, little did I know that that entailed her putting hands on me, which I'm really particular about anyway, about a stranger putting their hands on me. But in that moment, I just thought, what if this woman is crazy and I can't defend myself? I can't even get away. I was just stuck, you know? And that scared me so bad for a long time. I did not go back out into a park. And I still don't, I only do it every now and then, but usually I'll go to the gym because of that reason. Because I was so scared, and it made me so depressed because my happy place is outside. I don't care what it's doing. When I'm depressed, sitting inside is the worst thing that I can possibly do. I have to get up, go get some sun, go get some fresh air, move around, and I don't feel so depressed. But you know, just because life I mean, just because you have a stroke doesn't mean life stops. You're still going to have those issues of, I have we live in a two-story house. Getting up and down the stairs, God forbid I get down the stairs and forget that I left my phone upstairs, because that's it's a trek to get back up. Fortunately, now it's gotten much better. That's one of the things that I want people to realize is everything gets so much better with time. Um, you know, I got really depressed when my 1 year anniversary came up, and I went to the neurologist, and she basically told me that was all I was going to get back. Well, I got so depressed that that was one of those nights where it was, God, why am I here? I'm broken. Please just let me go. Let me die. I give up. And it's sad to think like that. So, but it's a part of it. I think it was a part of the stroke. It was a part of not being the loss of my independence was like so detrimental to me. I'm used to taking care of myself and my bills, and now I'm to a point to where I'm trying to get disability, but they're saying that I'm good to work. Well, okay. Well, find me a job that I don't have to write, that I type with one, I hand and peck with one finger. Um, I still have the spasticity. I still have the limited range of motion to the right side. It's still hard to raise my arm. I still have all these deficits, and I still fall. If I turn my head real quick to the left, I fall to the right. Um, so, and then I have these people telling me I can do all these things, and I say, okay. So I apply for jobs, that I know I think I could do, but no one, they won't even talk to you if you disclose that you have a disability. And it's so easy to get around that whole discriminating, then it is what it is. All I know is that I had a purpose, and I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for almost 30 years. Um, it was my purpose. It was my passion. It, it provided me with a great life. Um, I'm, I'm very depressed about not being able to be a nurse now. Um, but I know something is going to happen. Something good is going to come out of all of this, and God's going to give me a purpose, because He didn't leave me on this earth just to whittle away and just do nothing. So I have to be the responsible one to pick myself up and push myself. Every day I go to the gym. I never go to the gym with like a distance or a particular workout I'm going to do. I get in the gym. I take one. The only way you're going to ever resolve a problem is take that first step. So I make a decision. If I want to get on the treadmill, I'll get on the treadmill. And I may do 15 minutes, I maybe do 30 minutes. It's never a fast pace. I still drag my toes, so I have to be careful. um, but those are the only ways I'm not going to be depressed, that I'm not going to sit and just be stagnant and just give in to my limitations. My limitations aren't defining me. It's how I deal with my limitations, you know. And one of them, I, I can't stress this enough. Everything has not been bad about this stroke. Um, I've had to get honest with myself about a lot of things. Um, I have had to deal with a lot of things that I really never in my wildest dreams thought I would. But, you know, when I'm sitting out in my happy place every morning, and, I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm surrounded by fur babies, and um, I see a red cardinal, and I'll see a couple of them. And for those of you that don't know, my mother had a stroke and died 1 month before I had my stroke. So I really never had that time to grieve her. Um, and that's just one of those added things. Life doesn't stop because you had a stroke. Um, you know, you're still going to have that flat tire. You're still going to, you know, um, uh, get turned down for different things. Life does not stop. But hopefully, I will really want to get the message out there to people that, those things that you're feeling, that you think nobody else is, everybody feels them. But not everyone is so comfortable sharing about them, and that's really okay. But as long as you maybe get some exposure to know that you're not alone, and that I get so frustrated when I'm on the stroke recovery um, on Facebook, and there's these people out there saying I'm never going to get better. They're 1 month post stroke, 6 month post stroke, a year. I am 2 years post stroke, and I am still seeing improvements. Don't ever let anybody, I don't care what letters they have behind their name, don't ever let anybody tell you that this is your final destination, because it's not. Just, you have to know, you have to work. Now, recovery is about what you put into it. if you put something into your recovery, you get it back tenfold. But if you put nothing in it, you ain't gonna get nothing. And I've seen these people, they get so angry and depressed because they're caught up into that I'm broken and I'm never going to get better, and they give into that, and they give in to the point to where they hinder themselves on ever getting better. And if you do that and you say I can't, then you can't. But let me tell you, it is a great feeling to try to wheel a part of your body that has not been working. It does not work at all. My brain is telling my finger, I want you to move. And as hard as I try, it doesn't move. And then one day, just out of the blue, all of a sudden, there's a little bitty wiggle there. That's improvement. That's improvement. And one of the things that made me so depressed is I did not take the time to celebrate all my improvements. You know, um, yeah, there were those big milestones, but every little single new movement, you know, the improvement in the speech, the improvement in the brain fog, the fatigue. It's not that they're not still there; they're there, but you learn to adapt. I know what I need to do. I know that when I'm really depressed, you know, I have to take care of myself either by talking to somebody. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on, therapists and doctors, and so, you know, we can all get through this and we can get through it together. You do not have to be alone. Um, and I just know, I don't know if it was that the pandemic was going on and there was the whole quarantine, because I took that very serious. Knock on wood, I no COVID. Although I did take a test yesterday, I'm waiting on results. But I don't think I have COVID because I can smell and taste. But anyway, um, I forgot what I was saying. I just want everybody to know that, don't listen to people. You know, you are the master of your own destiny. And if you let somebody else man, if I let somebody tell me, if I believed, if I bit into that, I would not be walking. I would not have been able to do the things that I have been doing. But every day it gets better and better and better. And one day, I'm going to go back to doing the things that I love, which was, I was a home infusion nurse. I came to your house, I started your IV, I accessed your Mediport. I loved it. It was my passion. And one day I'll be back there. So, anyway, well, I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you for listening. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Uh, I, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have the support I've had regarding my videos. I've had a video that had 484 views, which I'm so excited about. Because I know there's those people out there that need some hope and need to hear it from somebody else. It's real easy for someone to say, I understand how you feel. But until you've not been able to move and you've had the effects of a stroke, no one can really understand unless they've been there. And everybody's stroke is different. Everybody. And mine's no less severe than anybody else's. I'm no better than anybody else. I just choose to try to motivate myself in any way, shape, form, or fashion that I can. My goal is to be able to wear a nice button up shirt, nice pair of jeans, my cowboy boots, and, feel comfortable. And I'm nowhere near that yet, but I'll get there one day. But anyway, well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Please share with anyone that you know that may be struggling with, the effects of a stroke and various other things, and they need support. You know, I'm hoping at some point to invite, Cody, to do a podcast with me. I have a couple other people that I have in mind that are going to be doing podcasts with me. So you don't just have to listen to me talk. But, if somebody needs something and somebody is super stressed and want some support, please reach out to me. I can be Kevin Rawls, KevinRuls, on Facebook. I also have an Instagram. I think I don't even know what it is. I think it's let me see what it is. KDRRN66 on Instagram. Um, I'm going to continue to share as much as I can. And, if anybody has any topics that, they would like to talk about, please let me know. I appreciate all the feedback I've gotten. Notice it's quiet. Um, and I thank each and every one of you. And just know that you are so appreciated and loved. Have a great day and take care of one another. Love you. Bye.